If you are doing judgment, you cannot see the future. If you are not, you can. Judgment is always the end of possibility. Judging is the way in which we diminish our own capacity to choose. You choose everything in your life, whether you think you do or not. People are more trained to choose unhappiness than happiness. Every belief is a limitation. It's not the result. You cannot ask a question to get a result, because if you do, you can only see what's going to create a limitation that's going to create that result. What if the result you were looking for is greater than what you can imagine? Greater world, greater possibility, greater you. Pain does not have to be real. We create it. We take the mother trees, we destroy them, and then we wonder why the earth does not support us as we want it to. The earth is a gift. It's like if we start treating it like a gift instead of treating it like it's our personal slave, we'll have a whole lot better world. Let us be the creators of the future instead of the destroyers of the future. Can't believe I'm going to cry again. All things are included, nothing is judged in consciousness. Everything is questioned, everything is possible. What is actually possible for us that we're not experiencing? Which is a question I use all the time, because I try to get people to see that it's like if you take a belief, and this is what I believe, what do you have to cut out to not believe something greater? What do you have to cut out not to have a different point of view? What do you have to cut out in order not to create possibilities that you can actually create? And I have people all the time. We have a thing in Access where people they used to get up and spend 20 minutes thanking me, especially in India. Now they can only do this, which is thank you. And that's the way I want my life lived.
Yeah, it's really interesting because for the longest time, I thought the opposite of, well, only recently has it shifted through podcasting individuals such as yourself. I actually thought the opposite thing of love was hate. And I think that's just the mainstream
No,
interpretation of it.
yes,
Recently, it's been dropping in that the opposite of love is judgment. And I
correct.
find that really interesting. I'd love for you to expand upon that because it makes it like I don't hate a lot of things. So in my day to day, but I would dare say that am I operating from love all the time? Doesn't quite feel like it. But understanding that the opposite of love is judgment makes it really
Yeah,
interesting because it's like, oh, I can feel when I'm being judgy. And that
yeah,
makes it much easier to
yeah.
discern.
You have a discerning factor during judgment, because during judgment you have to come to conclusions. And if you have to come to conclusion, you don't have a sense of lightness and possibility, which is where love being should go. But love and loving are two different things. Loving is where you're always looking at a question of possibility. Love is where you've completed your question and completed your possibility. So you are done. Don't be complete. Be in the living, the loving, the laughing, and the joy.
So loving is about being in the moment and
Yeah.
being more
And
present.
experiencing what is present. It's like if you're loving with people, then you don't have any judgment of it. You can't judge somebody and love them.
When did you first realize that judgment was the thing that was impeding consciousness?
About 30 years ago, and I was told, I was channeling at the time, and I was told, it's like judgment is the killer. And I went, what? And I went, how can judgment be a killer? And then I started looking at it and I went, wait a minute. Judgment is always the end of possibility. Judging is the way in which we diminish our own capacity to choose. And I also was given the information that, you know, we have a choice. We can project and expect of others, which is a judgment, or we can allow them to do and be who they are. And if you project and expect of others, then you must, when they fail to meet your criterion of projection and expectation, is separate, judge, and reject you. It creates a huge gap in our level of possibility. And it's like I look at the world and I see the plants and the animals don't do that. Why do we? Yeah, they don't do that. They don't judge. Animals will go, okay, you want to ride? Okay, no, I don't want to give you a ride. Okay, fine. Then I won't get on you today. I always ask my horses, will you take care of me? If they say yes, I'll get on them. If they say no, I won't. I have a stallion that I ride he's snow white. He's beautiful. And I love him to death. And it's like I paid so much money to get him here to the United States. It's stupid money. He wasn't worth that much on the open market, but he was worth that much to me. And I ride him, and I was riding him a few months ago, and I had been having some physical problems. And so I'm riding on my way back to the barn, and it's like, and I get to the top of this hill, and I'm about 12 minutes from the barn. And it's like, and he stops, and he says, and he looks at me and he goes, get off. And he'd never done this before. Never talked to me that way, ever. Get off. I go, no, no, we're only 12 minutes. It's fine. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Get off. No. And I kicked him. Now, this horse is so sensitive that if you would kick him, he would come out from under you. He didn't move a muscle. He didn't move a muscle. He said, get off. So I called up somebody to come and help me off because I had a hard time getting on, and I had a harder time getting off in those days. And as I got off, I fell to the ground, and I realized he was right. I didn't have the strength to get off. I didn't have the strength to do what was right. And he knew. So I rode in a cart and led him back to the stables. And I went, thank you, my friend. You're a gift. And it's like, and I realized that all things are a gift. I mean, I was sitting here, we had a hurricane come through a few weeks ago. And it's like, I'm sitting in my house. And I'm going, okay, are we going to be all right? I got, yes. Okay, good. So I didn't do anything. And then I watched as the trees were like whipped around, and I watched one tree split and part of it fall off. I watched another tree that was 400 feet tall fall over. I saw another one that was 300 feet tall. It fell over. And these big, beautiful old trees that I would have done anything to have taken care of fell over. But I was not in my house damaged, hurt, or suffered anything. I went, wow, the world is a unique place if we live with it, not on it.
Yeah, that essence of living in alignment is really profound. It's interesting because you mentioned all things are a gift, and you also mentioned that all things are consciousness. Um, so, is consciousness a medium or like a substrate of how we experience life, or is it a state of being or something else
State
entirely?
of being. And it's like when you're truly being conscious, what happens is you live more in the question, and you're in the communion with all things, and you don't have the problems like other people have. It's like I personally am not fond of snakes, and in Texas we got lots. I never see them. They never show up at my house.
And do you think it's are you alluding to the law of vibration and resonance and
No,
attraction there? Yeah.
no,
How come you're not attracting any snakes?
because I tell them, please don't come near me. I'll have to kill you. With spiders, I tell them, get out of my house. You got 3 days, and if you're not gone, I will kill you. And they go. I communicate with all things.
Tell me way
I
more
believe
about that.
that, well, if you recognize that all things are conscious, then all things have an ability to hear, to see, and to speak. So it's like I like antiques. I like things that are truly old and beautiful. And so I have lots of antiques, but they all find me. I don't go out looking for them. They just, show up on my doorstep almost. It's like somebody will call me and say, I have this thing that I want to sell. Have you any interest? I go, yes, no. Yes. And I'll buy it. And usually, more often than not, it's a good price, which I think is very funny. The things themselves tell the people what to charge to get me to own me. And my point of view is we don't actually own anything. Everything owns us. It's like, do you get up and polish your furniture, or does it get up and polish you?
That
See,
is
it's
so
like,
interesting.
yeah, my furniture doesn't polish me, but I polish it. So it's like, from my point of view, is, do I own it or does it own me? It owns me. It sends me to work to pay for its upkeep. It pays, it's like I have to go to work to take care of its beauty so it's perfect. I have to, it's like I have to do all the work in order for it to have the life it wants. And these things find me and they just go, yeah, I'm beautiful. Here I am. Look at me. I have the most unusual house of any house I've ever been in. I have, you know, lion skin rugs. Did I kill any of them? Fuck no, I couldn't kill a lion. That would just be devastating to me. But when somebody else has done it, it's like I don't see throwing it away. Like one of the things they did in New York, Hillary Clinton, got this thing going to take care of, you know, get rid of all the ivory so that people wouldn't buy it. And I went, that's just crazy. And there were one pair of tusks that were in the stuff that was given to them. It was 25-foot long. Will there ever be another elephant with 25-foot tusks on this planet? Probably not, because we don't let them grow that old. We don't take care of them, and so it's like, but they took those 25-foot tusks and they ground them into dust and put them in a garden. And to me, it's like, that's a sadness, not a rightness. But people are really determined that they're going to do things right, and that's going to change things. No, what's going to change things is people becoming aware that these elephants are who they are. I went to Africa to do a class, and we went to this rhino orphanage where they took in baby rhinos that had been, uh, their mothers had been killed for their horns. So at any rate, they had all these, these little orphans, and they kept putting them in enclosures that they could keep them safe, quote unquote. And all the babies were dying. I said, why do you put them in enclosures? That is not where they are in nature. In nature, those little critters are outside all the time. They're in a forest at the most. And it's like, and they don't have shelter over their head, and nothing protects them at night except their mother. I said, why do you have them in stalls, essentially? Well, because they're safer. And I said, hey, what percentage of your babies are dying? Currently, we're losing about all of them. I said, what if you let them outside all day instead of trying to put them inside? Well, that wouldn't be safe. I went, that's just crazy. And I tried to suggest to them they treat the animal like it's an animal instead of treating the thing like it's something they need to protect. They didn't want to hear that. But from my perspective, that's more conscious than us trying to determine that we know what is right when I don't think we do.
It's interesting that even the concept of right, because I think we do so much for pursuing in our mind, there's so much right and there's so much wrong. And yet when I tune into the work of access consciousness in particular, it seems like right and wrong. Well, there's the clearing statement as well, but then also right and wrong seems to be this, again, just an activity of judgment, and it's a
That's
real.
all it is. It's just a
Yeah.
judgment. Right or wrong is a judgment. You know, if nothing was right and nothing was wrong, but what you made it so, what would be right and what would be wrong? Nothing. Nothing is right, nothing is wrong. What's the future going to be with this in place? It's like even our politicians, everything's about the rightness and wrongness of their points of view. How does that work out? We have two parties in the United States that are both destructive, and they don't want anybody else in there. It's like they don't want a third party. And my point of view is we need a party of consciousness where things start to change. Won't happen probably, but it's okay. If I could control the world, it would.
It's well, the irony being around control, because there's so much around access consciousness that ultimately just feels like an invitation to openness.
That's
Like,
correct. That's what
yeah,
it is.
can you expand upon that?
Yeah, because what we're trying to do is open people to the awareness of what they know. Most people want you to get their point of view. We insist that you have the answer that's right for you. You know what's right for you, not me.
The interesting thing also you mentioned earlier was also that inanimate objects aren't inanimate.
Maybe moving slowly. They move slower than we do, but they're not inanimate. They're alive. They're vibrant. And it's like you look at some of these old things that people have, carved and painted and done all this stuff with, and you go, that thing's so beautiful. How did that person do that? That person went within themselves to find a space that created beauty in the world. And they wanted to create beauty, and they did. It's like I look at all the things I have, and it's like they're just friggin' beautiful.
Let's talk about the 32 points, the bars. Tell us more about, how the bars came to be.
Well, the bars are literally a programming system that was put into bodies in order to stick us with points of view so that we would not change. Now, why would people not want us to change? Because if we changed, we could not be controlled. So all of the bars were originally created in order to create controls over us. Now, with the bar system that we do and the deleting of bars, we actually free people to see what is true for them. And it's a great gift to watch somebody change dynamically just from the bars. And I personally have had the experience of having my body hurt so bad that I didn't think I would survive. Had my bars run and it was all gone. All the pain was gone. So you don't know what's going to happen. But the one thing I did notice when I first started doing bars is whatever would bother me today, at least for 3 weeks, it would never bother me again, which is amazing. It's like, and I would not have what I would have a reaction to, I would stop having reactions to. As I changed more and more, I stopped having reaction as my modus operandi, and I became an action person who could create an action that created something greater. And that's what I like, being an action person who creates something greater.
Inspired Soul, just taking out a quick second to thank all of you that are subscribed to this podcast. Everything you see around here is powered and empowered by your subscription to this channel. Thank you so much. And for those of you that aren't subscribed to the channel, just a humble request, an invitation to please do take a moment to subscribe. Everything you see around here is, like I said, powered and empowered by your subscription. It is everything that fuels the growth of the Inspired Evolution. The quickest way that podcasts grow is through people actively subscribing and staying in touch and in tune with every episode that's coming out, and them sharing the episodes around with their loved ones. So thank you so much for doing both of those things. I'm going to take a quick sec for those of you that aren't subscribed to quickly find the button below, take a quick sec, hit subscribe, bell notification icon. Awesome. Thank you so much. And with that, back to Gary Douglas and the incredible insights from Access Consciousness. And so clearing, there's a programming that's associated with the bars, and then we can actually reprogram the bars to clear them to get what's, because the bars are holding us in our own way, and then we sort of
deprogram. I like to call it, it's like defragging your computer. It's like it's like if you erase programs on your computer no longer does those things. So bars being run is like defragging your computer by erasing files that have been running your life, and you stop being run by those things. It's great freedom to be not run.
And you downloaded these tools as well as the awareness around access consciousness, because you downloaded the fact that judgment was this inhibitor, but then you also downloaded a set of tools to work with it.
I did in the beginning, but it's like I downloaded the bars. Then the other stuff, it's like my channel guy went away one day and said, "Get to work." I went, "What? I want to sit around with my eyes closed and tell people what to do. That's more fun." Get to work. Shit. So I've been working for the last 30 some odd years, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. And I have a great life. I have an amazing life. We can have everything if we choose it, but we got to choose it, and we got to be willing to work for it.
At this juncture in the conversation, Gary, it feels like abundance is almost like our birthright. It's our innate nature, and yet there's a whole bunch of stuff that's just in the way.
Yeah, that's correct. I agree. Yeah, that's my point of view. It's like the thing is, you look outside. And I look outside and I see all the trees and all the things that are here. And it's like the flowers grow, the trees are abundant. When we first moved into this house that we're living in, they had put decks around everywhere because they didn't like ground. The trees, they're always exuding this exuberance for life. And it's like, and all the trees that we had that had been covered, their roots had been covered with wood for 10 years. It's like we started fertilizing them and they all came back glorious in their expression. And within 6 months, we had more tree squirrels and more birds and more critters here than ever before.
Thoughts, feelings, emotions is a big interplay that access consciousness brings us in, but they're not all the one and the same. So, can you help us understand thoughts, feelings, and emotions and the role they play in our experience of consciousness?
Well, my point of view is thoughts, feelings, or emotions are the lower harmonic of mankind. You have perceiving, knowing, being, and receiving. Those are the four elements of a real being. So it's like thoughts, feelings, and emotions are always trying to prove something. With your thoughts, you're trying to prove that you can come to a conclusion. With your feelings, you're trying to prove that you're a good person or a bad person. And your emotions are all about, see, I'm so sensitive. Now, I'm sensitive to a disgusting degree, but I cry at commercials. I cry at all kinds of things. I cry when I see a thing on TV about how someone overcame adversity and created a greater possibility in life. There was a musical uh, that was written in the 50s, 40s, 50s, and one of the things that was done was it was called South Pacific, and in it they have a song about you have to be carefully taught to hate and fear. You have to be carefully taught. And it's like, and it's true. People have to be taught to hate and fear people. Why would you hate or fear somebody? All people are unique and amazing, can be amazing if they choose.
Hey guys, I'd love to take a quick sec out to find out from you what you're taking away from this particular episode. Lots of conversations around openness, around judgment, around spirituality, around asking profound questions. What's your biggest takeaway and what are you practically taking away from today's episode? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Back to the episode. There's an operative word there, which is choice. Tell us about the power of choice, because access consciousness seems to really lean in on the power of an individual's.
Yes, but choice is everything. It's like you choose everything in your life, whether you think you do or not. If you choose to like only purple, that's a choice. Does that make you superior? Some people think it does. I like it. I wear it, but I don't think it makes me superior. It just makes me me. So it's like each and every person, I see what they're choosing and how they're choosing. And then from there, I know what they will choose, how they will choose, what will make them happy, what will not make them happy. And people are more trained to choose unhappiness than happiness. It's like, I love the news. We've got a terrible economic downturn. Okay. Yeah. My point of view is, okay, how do we change that? How do we get around that? How do we do something different? I'm always looking for what we can change, what we can do different, what we can be different that would create a greater possibility. And I think that's where we have to live and what we can do that would create a greater possibility.
You talk a lot about action into possibility and yeah, the nature of being 82 and still working.
It's like, hey, it's a choice. I like to work. I like to create things. I like to generate things. I like to look at a different possibility in life.
One of the things in there is it can be very difficult to project out on a timeline 5 years, 10 years, 15 years when your mind doesn't really have the capacity to evaluate. But I don't think feeling into access, you actually invite the mind into the process at all.
I invite the mind to be aware. Awareness is infinite and all inclusive. It is not judgmental. If you are doing judgment, you cannot see the future. If you are not, you can. Now, you don't get to see the future like a picture, but you get to see what it will create, which is expansive or contractive.
Because I've used those tools in particular myself, and probably some of my favorite ones from Access is, yeah, projecting into the future, touchwood, and then having a look at whether you feel lighter, whether you feel denser, whether you feel
Yeah,
expanded, whether you feel contracted.
yeah.
And so it's not like, oh yeah, 15 years from now, what's this choice going to yield? What's going to happen for my
But it's
family? What's
not
going
the
to happen?
result. It's not about the
Yeah.
result. It's never about, it's like I try to get people to realize you cannot go ask a question to get a result. Because if you do, you can only see what's going to create a limitation that's going to create that result. What if the result you were looking for is greater than what you can imagine? And it is usually.
Yeah. So tell us about lightness and expansiveness and how we, yeah, feel into those.
Well, if I say to you, you're ugly, do you feel lighter?
Not particularly, no.
No. If I say to you, you're very handsome, do you feel lighter?
I feel more open, yeah.
Yeah, because it's about not what is compliment, but what is true.
Mm.
And people think it's about a compliment. It's not. If I said you're a bad father, you'd probably agree with me. You know why?
Mm.
Because every parent judges themselves as not being as good as they could be.
Mm.
You know, and yet you are a gift to your kids, and
Mm.
your kids are a gift to you. It doesn't happen to most people.
Tools and techniques for transformation. Then you've got
Yeah.
32 points on on your brain. You've got a clearing statement. Maybe you can tell us more about the clearing statement. Maybe tell us about limiting beliefs. Like, yeah, I just really want
Well,
to.
every belief is a limitation because in order to
Every
believe,
belief, every
every
single
belief
belief.
is a limitation. Every single solitary one. You know, I don't have beliefs, but I do have awarenesses. And I don't, yeah, it's like, and I try to look at, see, so it's part of that thing of when I grew up, you have to question all authority. Authorities are always trying to tell you this is what you need to believe. This is the way it is. You know, when they told me that I needed to go to Vietnam, and I went, no, I don't. I don't want to go to Vietnam. Why the hell would I go there? You know, and then I got out of it.
You made a choice.
I made a choice.
Yeah.
Friends of mine went to Vietnam and lost their lives.
All sorts of different tools offered at Access
Yeah,
Consciousness then.
yeah.
Um,
We do everything. We cover money. We cover, sex and relationship. We cover animals. We cover business. We cover, you know, possibilities. We cover wealth. We cover anything. We will deal with any issue and always create different results as a result of it. I mean, one of the things that's interesting, I had a man who's a Sikh in India. When I went there, he was walking with two canes. And I had a process done on him by two of my friends that the next day he was able to walk without any canes. And he contacted me. He said, I've gotten better and I can walk now like I used to. Pain does not have to be real. We create it. And we create pain by believing that as we get old, we have to have pain in order to get out of these bodies. Not really, but it's like you can if you want to. It's like at 82, I still ride horses. At 82, I still work, 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day. I don't care. I like it all. My life is about what I can create, not what I can sit and watch TV at. Different world. And we had a man who was retired in India. One of the things we're doing is a new program for bars and business. Because the thing about bars is if people have their bars run, they have less days off, they're more productive, they are more creative, and they make more money. Okay, so those are four things that most businesses should want from their employees, you know. And this man said, I was looking for this 20 years ago when I started this business that I turned in from a business that was going bankrupt to a billion-dollar business. He said, I want to teach this. And he's in his 70s, and he's now going to start teaching bars and business. How did that happen? The man saw the gift it was and saw how to make it help others. And this is what I ask each person to do. Look at what you know that can help others get to a better place. The world should be a better place than it is right now. I mean, it's like we know that global warming is occurring, even if Donald Trump says it's not. You know, it's like it is occurring. So, like, what's going to happen? What will happen when these things occur? Will things be the same? Will they be different? What has to change? And we have to look from a different place, and we are. We're beginning to see that we can be in communion with nature and not against it. We do too much fighting against it and not enough communion with it.
how do you commune more with nature?
But I recognize that each and every element of nature is conscious, and it is all supporting consciousness, and it's here for consciousness, and it wants us to be more conscious. And it wants to see that we can create a greater world, and it wants us to be the greater world we can be. And that's what I want to do, is be the greater world I can be. We had a lady who's a child therapist who wrote a book called Wouldn't Teach a Fish to Climb a Tree. And it was like, it was trying to explain the autism sequence that's going on the planet. There's more autism and more ADD, ADHD, and OCD occurring on the planet. And it's like, and they don't know what to do about it because they think it's vaccine that cause it. I don't think so. I personally think it's the level of the species evolving to a higher order. Because the thing about people who have OCD and stuff, they can hear thoughts of people. And they, for them, it's like it's as loud as the person speaking words. And it's a miraculous thing to see some of these little kids. I had a lady who brought her 4-year-old to me in Australia, and I was at Simone's apartment. I'm sitting there and I watch the kid look at the refrigerator, and then I see his mother get up and start to walk towards the refrigerator and says, "Oh, Simone, do you have any juice?" And then she turns to her son and says, "Would you like some juice, honey?" And the kid goes, "Ah!" And I went, "He's telling you, he already told you that." She didn't get it. But I got it. I got that he was telling her, "Go get me some juice." And she got up to do it. And then when she asked him if he wanted some, he'd already told her, "Get me some juice." And she wasn't listening. And I looked at his little brother, his brother there who was older than he was. I looked at the brother. I said, "You hear him, don't you?" Uh, uh, uh. You know when he's in trouble. You know when things are wrong. You know all this stuff, don't you? You hear him. He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Don't discount it. Recognize it, acknowledge it, and use it to your advantage. It will work for you." And that little kid relaxed. It was interesting to see the tension go out of his body because he's been trying to protect his brother and trying to protect himself from what others cannot receive. And this is what I see so many kids doing. Whew, didn't expect to cry about this, but apparently I am going to. Told you I have strange, sensitive parts. So, for me, it's like having these events and doing these things and seeing these changes. It's a great gift. And I had some people who had 3 autistic kids, and they said they had a terrible time getting them to school in the morning. They couldn't get them to eat breakfast. They couldn't get them to do all these other things. I said, "Well, what are you trying to do?" "Well, I tell them that we have to have breakfast." I said, "Do you give them the whole day?" And he goes, "What?" I said, "Yeah, these kids need to see the whole day of what they're going to do so they know what to do in advance. You're trying to give them one thing at a time because that's what the psychologists tell you. Slow it down. That's not true. Speed it up." They came the next day and they said, "Okay, that worked. That was unbelievable." They got ready for school. They were totally dressed. They were totally ready to walk out the door, and they had eaten their breakfast before I was ready to go. That has never happened in their entire lives. I said, "Good." "And how did it go during the day?" "They got through with all their schoolwork. They did everything, and they showed up to be picked up at the right time. That has never occurred." I said, "Well, keep using this." And they did. It's an amazing gift to be able to share these things with people that other people don't get. But I hear the kids, I hear the animals, I hear the things. I walked into an antique shop in Auckland. I said, "Okay, who's the best buy-in here?" And this thing yelled at me, "I am." I said, "What?" "I don't do African." "I am, buy me." "I don't do African." "I am, buy me." "I don't do African." "Buy me." "Okay, how much is that?" And they told me, and it was 4,000 Kiwi, which was about 2,000 US. And it's like, I bought it. I took it home. I saw a Antiques Roadshow in the UK, and they were talking about this thing that was from the 1930s that was from Africa. They said if it was originally from the Sanje Kafwebe, which is what this tribe was, it's like it would be worth $40,000. But now it's only worth $20,000 as a thing from the 30s. And I went, "Oh shit, I paid $2,000 for something worth $40,000.
Hi there, guys. I wanted to take a quick moment just to introduce you to my one-to-one coaching. It's something that I deeply love doing. As you can tell, conscious conversation is such a massive part of my life. And having one-to-one, deep, meaningful conversations with people where I get to show up as your brother or as the coach or as your mentor has been such a gift for me personally, and a gift for lots of the people that I have supported on the journey of living a more spiritually empowered, spiritually powered, spiritually aligned life. You don't have to take my word for it. Here's some examples of people all around the world that have experienced profound transformations through this coaching experience.
Amrit is a fantastic coach.
In a few sessions, he got to a depth that I'd only experienced before working with certain medicines.
He's gone through a lot of the struggles that you're probably facing, and Amrit's been a really strong, supportive figure in my journey.
In control of myself.
I'm kinder to myself.
I actually have that vision and a purpose.
I do feel like I'm a better version of myself already.
Amazing energy.
He was easy to talk to, which made me easy to trust him.
Working with Amrit at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and really I was bouncing out of bed.
Whenever I get off the calls with Amrit, best money we've ever spent.
I would not recommend him because I don't want everyone to know about him, and then I won't be able to book him. If he gets too busy, I won't get my turn.
I would say absolutely.
There's no way you can work with Amrit for a period of time without being transformed.
So if you're considering him as a coach, do not hesitate, because you won't be disappointed.
Alrighty, so hopefully that's inspiring your evolution onwards and upwards. And if you are so inspired to evolve, you can book in a one-to-one call with me directly at www.amrit.coach/life. And guys, if I can say so myself, I do think this is something quite special. Most people that I see building things online don't really work with people this deeply, this intimately, one-on-one as things start to grow, just because it is so time intensive. And yet I'm so deeply passionate about the transformation that comes from one-to-one coaching that just isn't available anywhere else. It would be my absolute honor and a pleasure to support your spiritual awakening, your spiritual path, your spiritual unfoldment. It is my life's work. I look forward to seeing you in the call. Back to today's podcast. There's a natural label that people sort of project on the kids that you were mentioning before, that you got emotional about, even walking into a room and having a conversation with antique objects. Like, people are quick to label that as crazy, and yet access...
They're quick to call it judgment, and their judgment is crazy because it doesn't fit what they've been told is right.
Expand on that place.
Thing that we got to get over is that place of trying to look for what's right and start looking for what's actually true and what's real and what's working. See, I'm a very pragmatic person. For me, it's always about what's going to work, not what result I'm going to get. You know, I never give up, I never give in, I never quit. And that's, if you live by those standards, you can change anything.
Never give up, never give in, never quit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think at certain points, there is like a natural tendency that if things aren't working, we want to do that. How do we discern if something is really for us or isn't? Because sometimes things not working out is like a course correction, and they're not working out for our best. Sometimes things not working out are,
Yeah, but you have to ask a question. Is this working out the way it should? Is this what is best? And even with this, I went, is this what is best? And we're just about to open a new thing that we're going to do in Access, which is called the College of Expanded Awareness and Consciousness. And it's going to be an app called Access Me. And it's like, and we're going to open it up to the whole world. 8,000 classes that we've done over the last 30 years will be available to everybody on the planet. Because my point of view is I want more consciousness in the world. And it's like, if I have to give it all away, I will give it all away. And I'm doing that because it's a $250 a month program. And people will have the opportunity to go back 30 years and see what we were doing then, 20 years and see what we were doing then, and now and see what we're doing now, and see the different ways in which they can change their lives, which is really what I'm most interested in. How do I get you to change your life so that you become the greatest person you can possibly be?
What's your vision for the future? Let's say Access Consciousness, it's 200 years from now and everybody's got this app and everybody's exploring consciousness and everybody's becoming more and more aware.
My best point of view is I'd like everybody to know about Access and not have a clue who I am. It's not about me.
And then what do you think the world will look like in that state?
Well, if that's the case, we will not have disasters occurring because people will work with the weather to change it into a more benevolent reality. people will work with the planet to help it, not to take from it. I mean, Trump wants to open all the national parks to being mined. That's a big mistake in my estimation. It's like that should not occur, because it's like we need to have national parks so that we can have the ecological reality that no longer exists on planet Earth. Everything here is about we take from Earth and we don't give anything back. It's sad. When I watched Avatar the first time and I saw the mother tree get destroyed, can't believe I'm going to cry again. Every time I saw it get destroyed, I'd cry. I watched it 10 times. I cried all 10 times because it's so what I see us doing on this planet. We take the mother trees, we destroy them, and then we wonder why the earth does not support us as we want it to. The earth is a gift. And it's like if we start treating it like a gift instead of treating it like it's our personal slave, we'll have a whole lot better world. We are treating the earth like it's our slave instead of it's like something we need to take care of. But we need to take care of it. And if we don't start taking care of it instead of destroying it, we're going to be in deep shit. But I have faith that the autistics will find a way to change that.
And so the more we tap into consciousness, the more symbiosis and harmony we live in nature, which ultimately is our greatest lifeline. And also we are potentially able to, live the most expanded version of ourselves.
We are the creators of the future. We are the creators of the future. Let us be the creators of the future instead of the destroyers of the future.
Yeah,
Let's have a different reality.
That biblical term, we are made in the image of the Creator, seems to be echoing in this conversation quite a bit.
Damn it. I don't want this to be spiritual. I was involved in spirituality quite a bit, and I realized that the majority of people I knew who were spiritual were so judgmental that I don't consider myself spiritual, but I do consider myself conscious and willing to have consciousness. And consciousness includes everything and everyone and judges nothing and no one. It's a different reality.
Okay, we'll unpack that in just a sec. But creatorship, it's important to be a creator because you're 84 and still creating.
Yeah, I'm 82 and I'm still creating.
Yeah.
I'm 82 and I'm still working. It's like I'll be 130 and I'll still be creating.
Do you think that's a secret sauce to vitality as well? Because you are creating, but the universe still wants to see what it can create through you?
With me. It works with me. It doesn't work through me. It doesn't control me. Nobody controls me, not even me.
It's interesting as well to feel into what you're saying about the choices that we're making and the world at large in terms of some of the powers to be are trying to just take and more take.
Well, it's like they're doing all this stuff about cryptocurrency. And the only reason they want cryptocurrency is so they can control the taxes and take their money directly out of your account so that you have no control over your money. And people are going, oh yeah, cryptocurrency will be great. I'm going to buy into cryptocurrency. So far, I have not personally met one person who made money out of crypto. I've met lots of people who've lost money buying into crypto, but not one person who's made money or been able to walk away with cash in their pocket. So if there's really somebody who's done that, I'd love to meet him. And it's like, I'm open. But it's like I don't trust crypto because I don't trust governments.
Yeah, fair enough. And your vision for government in the future, because government is an interesting word, because government means to rule one's mind. And yet it seems like access consciousness is all about mind. What mind? Like stop the judgment and just flow and be open.
Learn to use your own mind. Use your own creativity. Find out what will work for you. Be that. Because you have way more capacity than you know. I don't want anybody to follow me no matter what I choose. I want them to choose for them and always know that they are the answer, not me. I don't have the answer, but I do have the question. I will always ask the question.
Yeah, and how do you know what question to ask?
The universe shows me what question to ask. What will this create? Is it It's a common question for me. Okay, if I choose this, what will this create? Will this create something greater or less? And I get greater, I go for it. And I've done things that everybody says you can't do that, and I do it, and it works. It's weird. We have a castle in Italy that we rent out, and it's a boutique hotel. And I had 4 managers who decided it was an event place, and that's all they would allow there. And then I've got a new manager who finally realized this is a boutique hotel where people can get amazing gifts of being here. And now we have people booking every day. More bookings are occurring. It's becoming a unique destination hotel, which it should be, because it's one of the few places in the world where there's quiet. There is no electronics allowed in the castle. No TVs. If you must listen to your computer, you must have earphones. No loud noises. And people who've come to look at the castle to tell me how to run it properly always told me, you need canned music in here. There's no music. It's too quiet. Too quiet? That's exactly what I want. I want it to be a place where you can find peace and quiet, because you can't anywhere in this universe anymore. And that should be something we should honor and be grateful for. I mean, I love to be there because you can hear the wind in the trees, which is the greatest music ever created. And that, to me, is gift. But it's like I also like looking out over the valleys, and there's, you can see people cutting the wheat across. You can see the cows over there. You can see you can see in the distance. And it's this amazing gift of being on the top of a hill, looking out over the world and seeing peace. What good is there to you being unhappy in every moment of every day? But it's like I have people that are happy, and they get bees in their property, and they have beehives, and they meet these beekeepers who are like gifts and want to have the gift of honey out there in the world. And you meet, it's like I have some people who went to work as volunteers for RFK when he was going to do stuff, and they were amazed at what they could accomplish because they had a willingness to have a question. And there's all kinds of people in the world who are looking to different possibilities always. And it's like, and this is the gift that I think Access will bring to the world, is looking for the gift of possibility that you are and that you have and that nobody else has like you do. You present a different point of view than anybody else in the world. You're a terrible person.
Why are you a terrible person for having a unique gifted view of the world?
Because if you refusing to be that gift, you do not open the door for other people to be as great as you are. And you already have, Amrit. I'm sorry. You're doing a good job.
Touch wood. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's spirituality and consciousness. You said you don't you're not digging the spirituality term because there's so much judgment in that spiritual domain, and yet consciousness is open and untainted with judgment.
Consciousness must be untainted. Okay. It's like the thing is, consciousness has got to be about no judgment. And it's like, if we can learn to live without judgment, we can always choose possibilities that haven't been available before. What possibilities could there be? Judgment is never correct. Judgment is never the choice. Judgment should never be the choice. It's not true choice. It's decision, conclusion, and destruction.
In a world without judgment, does nothing get done though?
Oh, you're an infinite being. What'd you come here from? To do nothing? How often do you do this show?
Twice a week.
Twice a week. So you would do nothing. Yeah, I believe that. Not. The thing about being an infinite being, if you're truly willing to be an infinite being, you realize you have infinite choice and infinite possibilities. Then you do everything not from judgment or conclusion, but from what are the choices do I have? It's like, I'm 82, I could retire. Would I want to? No. It's like, when I'm 85, will I retire? No. When I'm 90, will I retire? No. When I'm 105? No. When I'm 110? No. When I'm 130? No. When I'm 150? Maybe. We'll see. I don't know what it's like to be 150 because I've never met anybody that old.
What are the most common limitations that you see stopping or coming across people's paths? Yeah.
Usually money. They don't realize that money too is a choice. They have the point of view that you have to do the right things to get money, and you have to live like this, and you have to plan for your retirement, and you have to plan for the disaster, and you have to plan for. It's like if you didn't have to plan for a disaster, but willing to have enough money to always handle a disaster, a whole different universe opens up. Our house here in Houston during Hurricane Harvey flooded. We had 2 feet of water in the house. So we had to take off the bottom 3 feet of every wall in the house and dry everything out and take up all the wood and all the marble and everything and redo the entire house. We got ours done in 6 months. There are people who are still not recovered from that.
And that boils it back down to a choice of abundance.
Always about a choice of abundance. And we will choose to have abundance in our lives because it's more fun. Abundance gives you more choices.
It's been a very interesting conversation about our limiting beliefs and things that inhibit us and what gets in our way.
But it's all our choice. It's all our choice, and we have to stop choosing what limits us and start finding the choices that create no limitation. Question: what else is possible here? What else is possible? Questions always open the door to possibilities. Answers always limit what we can have.
And then also at the heart of all of it is really, I think, the underlying theme is access just seems to carry this frequency of just openness. If you can just open rather than shut down,
Open,
just
yes,
open and
open,
expand.
open. Yeah. Greater world, greater possibility, greater you.
Yeah. I love that, Gary.
Cool.
Oh my God. There is so much in there. And obviously you've been doing this for 30 plus years now. And then, well, you're only just getting started if we're going to 150.
Yeah, I'm just
and then some.
I've almost reached teenhood. You can be a stroppy teenager soon.
Oh, Gary, thank you so much for sharing yourself so abundantly here today. And just your time and energy and everything you do with Access around the world. And it's really inspiring also just for me as someone that's creating something with the Inspired Evolution to feel that, I've always wanted to create something that doesn't feel like work and doesn't end. And here you are going, I'm 82 and I'm just getting started. And I'm like,
I'm just getting started. I got lots to do.
It's cool. So refreshing and inspiring to feel that. And I'm just so grateful for the work that you're doing around the world. And obviously you sharing yourself here so abundantly with us today. Thank you so much, Gary.
So grateful. Thank you. You will rock.
As we get older, so many people deprioritize the fun, they're just like the responsibilities and
they always try to see the end of their life. I don't see the end of my life. I have just started.
Yeah.
I'm too busy to quit. Thank you.
Inspired soul, you've made it through to the end of another podcast. Such an incredible conversation with Gary Douglas and Access Consciousness, and we've got a few conversations with leaders from the Access Consciousness organization and other conversations with Gary as well. I'm going to pop them on screen for you to click on and find out even Gary's origin story, how he actually came to Access Consciousness and downloaded it, and more around the actual tools that are embedded within there and where those tools can be best applied. Now, just before we get there, like I said, this entire podcast is powered and empowered by your subscription to this channel. So please do take a moment to hit subscribe. Just below there's a button that when I say subscribe lights up, does all sorts of fancy things. Please hit that button. And for those of you that are subscribed to the channel, thank you so much for doing so. Everything is powered and empowered, like I said, by your subscription to this channel. And it means so much to have your incredible love and support here. Thank you so much for being so inspired to evolve. It's my absolute honor to be your brother walking this path by your side. on screen now as promised. Yeah, a couple of episodes. If you don't know how to subscribe, there's also an icon of the podcast. You can click on that and that will take you directly to subscribe. And 3 conversations, Access Consciousness, Gary Douglas, Dane here, an opportunity for you to go to even deeper into the tools that Access has to offer. So pick your adventure and I'll see you in the next one. See you there.